Welcome back! Today on Dialed In DIY, we're going candy hacking. There's a popular kind of candy out there at this time of year that is rich in heritage and perfect for a lot of different kinds of hacks. We're going to start today by getting it prepared and then diving into some great hacks to use these different wax candies. Whether the purely novelty wax nature candy or the liquid-filled kind, you can use these for a lot of great projects, but either way, we need to start by preparing them with a little bit of cleaning and melting. We're going to start first with these liquid-filled wax candies, cut them open, and empty all the fluid inside. I actually had 43 of these little wax bottles donated to me by someone who forgot they had them lying around since last Halloween, so they were kind of gross on the inside and I wanted to get them really cleaned up. You can see this particular type is perfectly clean with a good wipe or rinse, and it's just pure wax without any color added to it. So you can use it as is without any further modification for some of these hacks, but I wanted to make sure they were nice and clean and I wanted to get them into a different form, so I kept going with the cleanup process so that I could get them melting down in just a moment. The safest way to melt this kind of wax is in a little bit of a double boiler kind of an approach. So I took an old beverage can, cut the top out of it, got a pot of water just below the boiling point, and carefully dipped it into the hot water with some of the wax on the inside of the can. Make sure to work on a surface where if you spill a little bit of wax, you're not going to have a big problem, and you've got some good heat protection. In addition, make sure to use some tongs or something, especially at first, because the can's going to want to float, and you don't want to take a chance on having any hot wax spilling on you. As your contents start to melt down, you can continue to add more wax and keep the melting process going. Whether you had the wax fangs, lips, bottles, straws, or other, it's all food-grade paraffin and will melt down pretty much the same. Once you have it at the point where there are no more solids in the can, you're ready to pour it into some kind of a mold. I happen to be using a tin for cookies, but you could use anything like a paper cup, a muffin tin, tin foil bowls, or anything else that will give yourself a form and shape and size that you're after. Because I was using a tin, as soon as it started to cool down, I took a knife and just separated the edge between the wax and the tin itself. This allowed it to continue to pull away from the edge as it finished cooling. This gave me the perfect gap to get this little wood stirring stick right underneath so that I could lever up the wax. You can see it turn white immediately as it starts to separate from the metal, and this gives me the size and shape that's perfect for a lot of hacks and makes it really easy to store. This disc is the perfect shape and size for taking it to your snow shovel. Put it on the surface where you scoop up the snow and it won't stick to the shovel anymore. You can use this for lubricating all your other tools, for preventing rust on tools, and it's great for woodworking. Any kind of a cutting device can be waxed up just a little bit so that it'll move more cleanly and smoothly through the wood, which will also help save on your cutting tools. I find that many of these other hacks that I like to use can be accomplished much more precisely with a smaller piece of wax. So I get out a knife and start cutting it down into strips. You can use it like a pen to be very precise to lubricate just about anything that moves that might stick, and you can also use it to prevent moisture leaking through seams, gaps, and areas in tents and clothing. You can also use a fine coat to help inhibit rust on your tools. Throwing it back in the boiler and throwing in some additives makes it perfect for some other hacks, but I think that's going to have to be the subject of some future videos. For now, if you'd like, you can look back to one of my previous videos to see how I used paraffin as one of my ingredients in making bacon-scented candles. To close out our wax hacks today, I thought I'd share a couple of options for you to help with the cleanup process once you're done hacking your wax. So, thanks for sticking with me today at Dialed In DIY and checking out my video. If you enjoyed what you saw today, please let me know with a thumbs up. And as always, if you have some feedback for me, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. While you're here, feel free to subscribe, check out my playlists, and come on back for more Dialed In DIY.